Hey, what's up, guys? Gotta love the Stooges, and I think the music is perfect for what we are watching here. This fictional invention they have termed the ball Earth, on which we live, supposedly. So, in this video, I would like to show you the shots I've taken through my telescope in my quest to find any curvature, which I cannot find, obviously, and also emphasize the equation used to determine how much curvature there should be per mile, and this is obviously very important. So let's go ahead and get started. So there's the pretty blue marble that NASA claims we are living on, with circumference of 24,901 and 3959 radius. So to find the curvature, you take 8 inches times your distance squared. That's 8 inches times your distance squared, and if you don't square the distance, you end up with this, and this is not what NASA has shown us. They have given us a beautiful blue marble that we love. So you get 8 inches for 1 mile, 32 inches in 2 miles, 16.6 feet with 5 miles, so on and so forth. So what I did is I shot this pier, which is in Daytona Beach, Florida, and as you can see, between the water and the walkway of the pier is about 12 to 16 feet based on the height of the people and the railing. So I started at Granada, which is 4.92 miles away, and I shot this, and based on that distance and the formula, there should be 16 feet of curvature. But obviously you can still see the entire gap under the walkway there between that and the water. So in addition to that, behind that pier is actually a lighthouse, which you can see right above the pier. You can see the light. That is 16 miles away from my location, and I shot that lighthouse. I also shot it in a video, which I'll show here in a second. Now that lighthouse is 175 feet tall, and the curvature from 16 miles away should be 170 feet. You can clearly see about the entire lighthouse beyond that pier. So like I said, there should be 170 feet of curvature, but there's none. And those hotels there are even further. Those are in New Smyrna, which is 20 miles away. Well, depending on the location, 17 to 20, which I'll show in a second here. But you can clearly see that lighthouse above that pier, and that is 16 miles away. And there's the shot of the New Smyrna line of hotels, and this is shot from Granada in Ormond Beach, Florida. Like I said, that is 17.5 miles away. I also shoot that from another location even further. But again, it's 17.5 miles away. That's 204 feet of curvature. I know that tall hotel is 18 stories, but the other ones, I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's no curvature. Now I shot this picture from 8 miles away. That's the same Daytona Beach pier, and this is from 8 miles away from Ormond by the Sea, which is, like I said, 8 miles away. It's from an area we call the Sandlot. From this distance, there should be 42 feet of curvature. Now there's clearly the entire gap under that walkway and the water. You can clearly see the space. There's no curvature. Nothing is covered up. There's a closer view of that pier from those 8 miles away. I don't see any curvature, and it should be 42 feet. And there's the hotel from New Smyrna. That's that same hotel I shot from the other location. This time this is 20 miles away. From 20 miles there should be 266 feet of curvature. And I know that hotel is about 18 stories. It's not even close. And you can pretty much see the entire hotel even in this shot. So I mean, from these shots it's pretty obvious there's no detectable curvature. So what does that mean? Well, if NASA is right and there is, we do live on a ball, they're going to have to make up that curvature. If it's not in the 20 miles I'm shooting, well then that means it's got to be made up further on down the line. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say we live on this ball and then say, oh, you can't detect the curvature. Well, you got to detect it somewhere, because if it's not dropping here, it's going to have to drop even more down the line in order to make that circle, that ball they say we live on. And it's pretty round. That blue marble they give us is perfectly round. Unfortunately for them, they can't show us, they can't prove here on Earth that there's any curvature. They can't point out curvature because we're taking these long shots without detecting anything. And like I said, if you can't detect it here, you're going to have to detect it double down the road. This pier shot is clearly showing the entire gap under that pier at 8 miles away. The shot of the lighthouse is showing the entire lighthouse. Should be 170 feet of curvature. So just to stress, this is the equation, 8 inches times your distance in miles squared, and that will give you the drop in curvature that you should see over a given span. And beyond that, I would just like to mention that this equation is perfect for up to 1,000 miles, which is obviously pretty far, but beyond that, you do need to use a slightly different formula. I would suggest using the sagitta, which is basically the height of an arc of a circle. So you can take any arc of a circle and figure out the sagitta, which is the same thing as your curvature, your drop in curvature, but that is the most accurate formula to use to find out the drop in curvature for longer distances, anywhere from 1 mile to 12,000 miles, half of the Earth. And to find the sagitta, you just need to know the radius, which is 3959, and then the length of the arc in question. And for us, it would be the distance we're shooting. Say I'm looking at a pier or a mountain 10 miles away. As an arc of a circle, that would be double. It would be 20 miles then, because you're on top of the ball Earth. So the distance you're looking at is, say, 10 miles this way, and then as an arc of a circle, it would be 10 miles the other way. But I didn't want to get too specific in that regard. We can leave that for another video, or perhaps somebody else can tackle that in greater detail. So that's it. The results are no detectable curvature, and as far as we can tell, everything is flat as a pancake.
There she is, the blue marble in all her glory, the most widely used image of the earth. This image has been used over and over and over again for decades. In my opinion, it's one of the most realistic looking images of the earth from space. Now, NASA claims they don't have very many authentic photos from space, but they claim this one is authentic. They say the photograph was taken by astronauts on December 7th, 1972 at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is one of the most widely distributed photographic images in existence. The image is one of the few to show an almost fully illuminated Earth disk. Earth disk? That's an interesting choice of words. Okay. And the astronauts had the sun behind them when they took the image. To the astronauts, the slightly gibbous Earth had the appearance and size of a glass marble, hence the name. Well, since they gave us the exact date and exact time they supposedly took this picture in space, I decided to go to timeanddate.com and then use the day and night world map feature. Now, this website is really cool. It'll actually show you which countries and continents are in daylight and which countries and continents are at nighttime at any given time that you type in. So I typed in that exact date and that exact time, December 7th, 5:40 in the morning, and this will show you which areas are supposed to be in night and which areas are supposed to be in day. It's pretty easy to read. Now, when we look at the blue marble, we can see that Africa is lit up. We can see the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia and Yemen, is lit up. We can see Madagascar. We can see a little of Antarctica. But other than that, we don't see a whole lot of land masses lit up. So that would mean all the other land masses would have to be on the other side of the Earth in darkness. However, when we go to timeanddate.com and we type in December 7th, 1972, 5:40 a.m. in the morning, Africa is indeed lit up as shown on the blue marble. However, South America should also be in daylight. Europe should also be in daylight. An entire chunk of Russia should be in daylight. And the western end of Australia should also be in daylight. Yet none of these places are featured on the blue marble. So therefore on the blue marble they would be on the other side in darkness. As the astronauts said, they took the picture with the sun behind them. So this is a major flaw, a major glaring hole in the blue marble. And literally anyone within a few minutes can take the time and convert Eastern Standard Time to other world times and find out all these places should be in daylight, such as Rio de Janeiro, 6:39 a.m. should be in daylight. Helsinki, Finland, 12:39 should be in daylight. Moscow, Russia, 1:39 should be in daylight. Perth, Australia, 5:39 p.m. should still be daylight. I think this more than proves, folks, that this photo is not a correct representation of Earth. It is just as fake as all of the other admittedly faked Photoshop composites. However, this one NASA claims is a real, authentic photo of Earth. Only problem is, all your other continents that should be in daylight are on the other side of your marble. I'd like to see the other side of the marble with all the other continents in darkness. Can you imagine looking at the other side of the marble where all the other continents are all crammed together? Yeah, that wouldn't look stupid at all. So there it was, folks. It was right in front of our face the whole time. They show us Africa, but then they don't show us hardly anywhere else. And there's all these other places that should have been in full daylight at that exact time when this supposed photo was taken, but they aren't, which proves it is not an authentic photo. 100% debunked.
A friend of mine once told me to do a search online. Search for photos of Earth, he said. This shit will blow your mind. So I opened up the Google and I looked for photos of Earth. Well, a lot of photos came up. He said, click on the first. He said, that's the famous blue marble that everybody's seen. We've seen this photo 1,000 times upon our TV screen. But let me tell you something about that famous shot. It's not a photo at all, man. It was made in Photoshop. Cause there ain't no photographs of Earth. Somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons. They're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a globe. No, none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? He was goddamn right. That shit did blow my mind. Cause I thought the blue marble was a photo all this time. Well, don't you think that's strange? He said suspiciously. Now, the fact that it ain't a photo seems pretty weird to me. I mean, the most important photo that man could ever take? This huge iconic image turns out to be a fake? Well, I couldn't quite believe it, man. I was pretty shocked. I needed further proof that this photo's photoshopped. He said, look up Robert Simon. He made that cartoon ball. He's the guy you should research. He works for NASA and all. He openly admits that it's all just artistry. He said, and I quote, it's photoshopped, but it has to be. There ain't no photographs of Earth. Somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons. They're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a globe. No, none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? Yep, every photo of the Earth is artist trickery. All the photos on Google, man, are as fake can be. Download all the photos and put them side by side. Compare all the continents, they're each a different size. Compare all the colors, each globe a different shade. If all of these were photos, man, they should look the goddamn same. Where's the continuity? There's none, no, none at all. All that NASA gives us is a bunch of cartoon balls, cause there ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a code, no, none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? Now we're supposed to have this telescope, right, that's flying past the stars, taking beautiful photos of Jupiter and Mars. Well, I've got a small suggestion, NASA. Here's something you could do. Point that thing at planet Earth and take a shot or two, because there should be goddamn thousands of photos of where we live. But Hubble ain't taken one. That's suspicious, don't you think? We got all these fancy pictures of spinning galaxies, but not one goddamn photo of the Earth for us to see. Cause there ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof of a code, no, none at all. Why the hell can't no one take a photo of this ball? There ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just Photoshop cartoons, they're all just CGI. No photographic proof